Now, the Sean Diddy Combs investigation, new surveillance video shows Combs being taken into custody in a Manhattan hotel last week. Our senior investigative correspondent, Aaron Petersky, is at the scene of his arrest. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning to you, Robin. This is the hotel where Sean Combs was arrested a week ago. You can now see how that arrest went down. This morning, watch how federal agents took Sean Diddy Combs into custody. He's seen in this video entering the Park Hyatt Hotel in Midtown Manhattan with others when agents from Homeland Security Investigations approach and separate him. They place Combs under arrest and lead him out the front door in handcuffs. His lawyer said Combs had come to New York 2 weeks earlier with the intention of turning himself in. He did not expect the agents to be waiting at his hotel last Monday night.
Why doesn't the government want to turn himself in? Because then they can't ask for detention. So they go and they arrest him. They arrest the guy who came to New York to turn himself in. 1, 2, 3.
A day earlier, Combs seen out and about New York with his family, seemingly in good spirits. Combs has pleaded not guilty to racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and prostitution charges. At the center of the case, this 2016 video.
The recent arrest of Sean Diddy Combs on federal charges has shaken the entertainment industry, implicating some former associates, including Leonardo DiCaprio. Breaking news from ABC confirms Diddy was taken into custody tonight in New York City by Homeland Security agents. While the exact charges remain unclear, Combs' attorney expressed disappointment, calling the prosecution unjust. This arrest has reignited debates around celebrity associations and their potential fallout. Allegedly, on September 16, 2023, Diddy faced multiple charges, including racketeering and transportation for exploitation, with claims involving coercion, threats, drugs, and financial manipulation.
All right, we are getting some breaking news right now. ABC News has just confirmed that Sean Diddy Combs was arrested tonight in New York City. So to say, federal agents with Homeland Security Investigations took him into custody. The charges are unclear at this time. Combs' attorney telling CNN, we are disappointed with the decision to pursue what we believe is an unjust prosecution of Mr. Combs by the U.S. Attorney's Office. We, of course, are trying to gather more information. There's a lot more to come out of this story, and as soon as we get it, we'll turn it over.
The charges reportedly originate from lawsuits by Diddy's former partner, Andrea Ventura, who accused him of sexual misconduct and pointed to the involvement of third parties. These parties allegedly engaged in explicit performances, raising serious ethical and legal concerns about consent and exploitation.
Combs has been denied bail in connection with the sexual abuse and sex trafficking charges he faces. As Westport reports, the music mogul who once traveled by private jet to all those mansions is now in a jail that is notorious for its bad living conditions.
Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs spent his first night behind bars inside a facility that is being called Hell on Earth. The Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn is notorious for its appalling living conditions and rampant violence. How bad is it inside this federal lockup? There have been 2 murders, 4 suicides, and numerous stabbings and lockdowns in recent years. It's so out of control inside that 4 federal judges are reportedly refusing to send any more prisoners here. Donald Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen, spent a harrowing year in federal custody. He said for someone used to a life of luxury like Diddy, prison life is a severe shock.
You have a desk, you have a plastic chair, you have your bed with a 1.5-inch mattress, no pillow, and you also have a locker. So you basically have 3 feet by 5 feet to move around. So you have basically 15 square feet. It is a horrible, horrible place.
Diddy's lawyers were so eager to keep him out of jail, they offered his palatial $48 million home in Miami Beach and his private jets as bail. Today, they are even offering to restrict female visitors to his homes, except for his mother, daughters, and the mothers of his children if he is released. They told the judge the jail he was being sent to is dreadful, dirty, inhuman, and an ongoing tragedy.
How's your dad doing?
Family members appeared somber as they arrived at federal court in Manhattan today in another attempt to get out on bail. The judge cited Diddy's history of violent temper and potential intimidation of witnesses as reasons for keeping him behind bars. Diddy's former protege, singer Aubrey O'Day, is celebrating Diddy's downfall today. I feel validated, a win for women all over the world.
Combs has pled not guilty. Those were the only words he had in court yesterday.
Diddy's indictment details paint a disturbing picture of exploitation and power imbalances within the entertainment industry.
Lawyers for Combs and prosecutors set to hold a status conference to determine the next phase following the sweeping indictment alleging the music mogul leveraged his business empire, power, and prestige to abuse his alleged victims.
He used his business and employees of that business and other close associates to get his way. Those individuals allegedly included high-ranking supervisors in the business, personal assistants, security staff, and household staff.
As the disgraced rapper faces racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution charges, investigators now working to determine who his alleged co-conspirators were and whether they too should be charged. 54-year-old Combs pleading not guilty to charges that he led a racketeering conspiracy that abused women.
I'm going to fight like hell to get him released, and he should be released.
The indictment alleges some of Combs' employees helped set off so-called freak-offs, in which women were forced into sex acts with male prostitutes.
He used the embarrassing and sensitive recordings he made of the freak-offs as collateral against the victims.
Prosecutors said authorities seized records along with firearms, drugs, and more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant during raids last March on Diddy's homes in Miami and Los Angeles.
Something's controlling me.
Combs has been under criminal investigation since his former partner and recording artist Cassie Ventura accused him in a November civil lawsuit of rape, repeated abuse, and even sex trafficking. At the center of the case, this 2016 video exclusively obtained by CNN, showing the 2016 altercation caught on surveillance video. Combs grabbing and kicking Ventura. The lawsuit was settled with no admission of wrongdoing. Combs issuing an apology video back in May.
I hit rock bottom, but I made no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable.
Since then, the rapper is the subject of multiple civil lawsuits, allegations which he has denied.
Swimming in women with their own condominiums, 5+5s who drive millenniums.
Combs has reportedly amassed a $1 billion fortune after he shot to fame in the 1990s with hits like It's All About the Benjamins, launching the label Bad Boy Records, and the successful careers of Mary J. Blige, Usher, and Notorious B.I.G. Later expanding his brand into fashion, fragrances, and alcohol. A business empire now in jeopardy.
Sean Combs also faces forfeiture in this criminal case, where the government says that anything involving this criminal enterprise can be forfeited to the U.S. government.
Our thanks to Morgan Norwood for breaking down how we got here. And it has been a staggering fall from grace for music mogul Sean Diddy Combs. But what can we expect moving forward? I want to bring in legal affairs journalist Megan Cuniff for more on this. Megan, I appreciate you being here because there is no one else, truly, who I'd rather talk to about this. The Washington Post called you arguably the most influential legal journalist working today. You've got your finger on the pulse, your nose all up in it, Megan. Diddy is currently being held without bond after his appeal was denied by a judge Wednesday. How significant is this to keep someone this high profile behind bars?
You know, I think in federal court and for these charges, they would say it's routine, but in the public realm, this is very significant, just from who we associate Diddy being and everything we've seen him do over the decades. Like you said, this is...
These revelations underscore a larger discussion about the misuse of power, especially in settings where fame and wealth often shield individuals from accountability.
The downfall to go from, I mean, we saw the mansions back in March that were raided by the feds. So to go from living in those mansions to being in a jail cell right now, I think it really underscores the magnitude of what he's facing and the weight of the federal government.
You're absolutely right. And I mean, he had his mansions in Florida and California raided at the same time. And so much of this has played out publicly, starting back with that civil lawsuit from Cassie and then more lawsuits and denial of the claims, but then settling very quickly with Cassie, denial of other claims. And it's been this slow drip until this point. You have covered celebrity cases before, most famously Tory Lanez assault trial in 2022. That went viral on X, formerly known as Twitter. What do you think about the responses that people are having to Diddy's case and his reputation at this point?
I think it's to be expected, just the shock of this and the the questions about what is ahead of us. I mean, how long is he going to be in custody? Is this an R. Kelly situation? Is he going to not get out for a number of years? Is he going to end up serving a long-term prison sentence from this? Or does he have a chance of beating these charges at a trial that could come, within the next 2 years? I think there's a lot of questions about the timeline. And then, like it was said in the report before, the question of co-conspirators. Is he going to end up with co-defendants on this? And if he does, who are they going to be?
Well, and that point exactly, Megan, is what has so much of people talking and speculating who else could be involved when you know the influence that Sean Diddy Combs has had in the music industry for decades. I mean, is it even possible to say how big?
Following Diddy's arrest, a resurfaced video on Twitter has gained significant attention. In it, Diddy praises DiCaprio, calling him his top guest for an upcoming party. While the video does not suggest any misconduct by DiCaprio, it has reignited conversations about the implications of their past connection.
Person that's number one on that invitation list. Leonardo DiCaprio. Man, I can get on that list, yes, right?
On the you are invited.
The video highlights the close-knit relationships often found among celebrities. Yet it also raises questions about the nature of these connections, especially given the current allegations against Diddy.
Aftermath of the Diddler's arrest, countless photos are emerging of various celebrities who attended Diddy's many parties over the years. Photos of a much younger Leonardo DiCaprio attending one of Diddy's famous white parties have been plastered all over articles recently. DiCaprio claims through a source he hasn't been in contact with Diddy for years and never was at any of the infamous freak-offs. The source said Leo attended a few of his parties back in the early 2000s, but literally everyone did. They were not freak-offs, they were big house parties.
DiCaprio's connection with Diddy goes back to the late 1990s, when he was often spotted at Diddy's high-profile events, including the famous white parties.
Kim Porter was only 47 years old when he died tragically and suddenly in November 2018. The model dated Sean Diddy Combs for more than a decade and had 3 children with the music mogul. Now, 6 years later, and in the wake of Combs' arrest on a wide variety of federal charges, there are growing calls for an investigation into the circumstances leading to Porter's death. R&B star and Mount Vernon, New York native Al B. Shore, who also had a relationship with Porter prior to Combs and shared a son with her, taken to Instagram in a series of posts calling for the truth in his words to be uncovered. "I'm writing this post," he says, "to formally request an investigation into an entire group of individuals who worked at or around the residence of Miss Kimberly Porter."
I'm just being it's now time to speak up. A lot to it. A lot to unfold. I have to keep part of my son's mind. Quincy.
Do you think something really happened?
Absolutely.
Porter was found dead in her Southern California home after experiencing flu-like symptoms for 4 days. The coroner ruled her death natural, with the cause listed as labor pneumonia.
In the Instagram post, I'll be sure references the recent indictment, but doesn't actually mention Combs by name, something he also refused to do in our sit-down.
I don't think I have a number of individuals, whatever is going on with this gentleman. That's going to do with it and his counsel.
Albie suggested Kim was writing a memoir that would have exposed those around her. His Instagram post describing Porter's death as a tragic murder.
But I asked that you keep our family informed. All of the collateral damage that's been done because of the situation.
Albie Shore only recently recovered from several health problems that saw him go from a healthy man to near complete organ failure. Doctors had never seen someone suffer this type of health crisis before and considered his recovery a miracle.
Known for their extravagance and star-studded guest lists, these gatherings attracted celebrities across the entertainment industry. DiCaprio's most recent attendance at one of Diddy's parties in 2019 hints at a long-standing, if complex, friendship.
It's been 1 week since the arrest of Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy is now at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, a place that's been described as hell on earth. Fox 6 Lisa Evers is at NBC right now on Diddy's life behind bars. Lisa, what are you finding out tonight?
Well, Natasha and Steve, for the first time in his life, Sean Diddy Combs has spent a week behind bars. He's here inside NBC, where he's been since his arrest on Monday night on federal sex trafficking and other charges, to all of which he's pleaded not guilty. There's no VIP section, there is no concierge, only conmen, killers, and kingpins. NBC is so bad, federal judges have questioned the harsh conditions for those here awaiting trial. So bad I was here 2 years ago during the cold spell, reporting on detainees with no heat, pounding on windows for help. There was even a congressional inquiry to take the word of a former inmate I spoke with who goes by Esco.
It's terrible. The food is terrible. Of course the inmates are terrible. The guards are terrible. The conditions are terrible. It's just terrible.
The inmates that you're surrounded around, just in general, a lot of them are brought up on pretty heavy federal indictments, right? So just in terms of the atmosphere there, it's just certainly one that no one wants to be in.
Combs was placed in a special housing unit and on suicide watch, the standard protocol for high-profile celebrity detainees. The disgraced mogul was denied bail by 2 separate judges. His attorney, Mark Agattillo, asked the court to transfer him to the federal detention section at the Essex County Jail, but the judge deferred to the Bureau of Prisons. Federal trial attorney Philip Hamilton says lockdown can mean a lot less time to prepare your defense.
In terms of fighting your case, it just makes it all the more difficult, because now in terms of you being able to communicate with your attorney, you are at the dwellings of just what's going on with respect to the facility. Is it on lockdown? Is the facility letting visitors in?
Detainees on suicide watch wear tear-away paper hospital-style garments and rubber shower shoes. The isolation may be the worst part for Combs. It's being done for his protection in the violence-prone facility. He will have no bunkie.
He's probably not going to have any contact with any of the inmates. So for him, it's going to be a little different than for a person like me. I will go to process and intake, and then they'll assign me a cell, and I'll have a bunkie or a cellmate, and I'll be in population.
For him to be able to get out at this point, it is something good.
Now, we reached out to Combs' attorney but did not get a response. We also reached out to the Bureau of Prisons. They confirmed to us that Combs is in fact detained here at NBC. For how long remains to be seen. We're live at NBC in Sunset Park, Brooklyn. I'm Lisa Evers, Fox 5 News.
As the investigation into Diddy progresses, DiCaprio appears to be distancing himself from the controversy surrounding his former friend.
With me is our client, plaintiff Thalia Graves. Today we filed a lawsuit in the United States District Court, Southern District of New York, for our client, plaintiff Thalia Graves, who is given permission to use her name. The case number of the 26-page complaint is 1:24-CV-07-201. In her lawsuit, Thalia, through her attorneys, sues Sean Diddy Combs, also known as the defendant, and another individual and other entities. The complaint alleges in part in the first cause of action that defendant Combs and another defendant committed a, quote, violation of New York City Victims of Gender-Motivated Violence Protection Act by viciously and violently forcing sexual contact, oral sex, and sexual intercourse on the plaintiff, end quote. In addition, the complaint alleges in the second cause of action that defendant Combs and another defendant committed a violation of New York civil rights law, quote, section 52-B, end quote, by, quote, raping plaintiff and recording it. Defendants caused plaintiff to be depicted in a video image, unclothed and with intimate body parts exposed, and engaged in sexual conduct with another person, end quote. The lawsuit also alleges that, quote, defendant Combs and another defendant published and or disseminated the videos without plaintiff's knowledge or consent. On information and belief, defendants have continued to disseminate the video, including by selling it as pornography through the present, end quote. In our complaint, we ask that, quote, defendants should be ordered to account for and destroy all copies of the video that are in their actual or constructive possession, custody, or control, end quote. And that, quote, defendants should be temporarily and permanently enjoined from further disseminating or publishing any intimate videos of plaintiff, end quote. We also allege in the third cause of action that Combs and another defendant committed a violation of New York City Administrative Code, section 10-180, quote,
reports suggest that DiCaprio has not been in contact with Diddy for several years, emphasizing that his attendance at Diddy's parties was limited to earlier years and that he was unaware of any illicit activities related to those events, according to a source close to him. The actor's past participation does not link him to the alleged misconduct, and he has no desire to be drawn into Diddy's current legal issues.
$48 million Miami mansion to hell on earth where chaos reigns. Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're looking at the latest developments surrounding the arrest of Sean Diddy Combs following a grand jury indictment. Warning, some of the information contains distressing details.
Combs has pled not guilty. Those were the only words he uttered in court yesterday.
Hell on earth prison conditions.
The music mogul who once traveled by private jet to all those mansions is now in a jail that is notorious for its bad living conditions.
Following his arrest for racketeering, trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and transportation to engage in relations for money, rapper and music magnate Sean Diddy Combs is being held in Brooklyn's notorious Metropolitan Detention Center, commonly referred to as the MDC.
I've had clients describe MDC as hell, as the worst conditions they've been in.
The facility has long been infamous for its troubling conditions, which include rat infestations, rampant violence, and understaffing.
Violence is not the only issue. Accusations of medical neglect, staffing shortages, smuggling of drugs, some allegedly facilitated by employees.
There have also been instances of falling concrete, freezing temperatures, and, quote, busted cells. Moreover, the prison has seen its share of inmate deaths, including incidents of prisoners taking their own lives.
It is a horrible, horrible place.
Despite multiple reports of human rights violations, the MDC remains a primary holding facility for high-risk detainees, housing up to 1,600 inmates, including the likes of cartel kingpins and other dangerous criminals.
It's so out of control inside that 4 federal judges are reportedly refusing to send any more prisoners here.
Diddy is hardly the first celebrity to be locked up at the MDC, as past high-profile detainees include Ghislaine Maxwell, R. Kelly, former bro Martin Shkreli, and NXIVM cult founder Keith Raniere, among others. Combs' lawyers have argued that the facility is not fit for pre-trial detention, specifically citing the recent string of detainee deaths.
Now arguing for him to be moved to a prison in New Jersey. in the lead up to this trial, citing the prison's poor conditions, violence, and deaths.
Denied bail twice.
Look, he has limitless funds. He can hop on his plane. He can go anywhere in the world. The defense says, look, he gave up his passport. He came to New York willingly.
Despite the poor conditions at the Metropolitan Detention Center, the rap mogul will remain detained there. This after a judge denied his appeal for bail for a second time.
This is the second judge. This is the second attempt to get bail. And he offered all kinds of things that I haven't heard before, and he still got convicted.
On September 18, 2024, Judge Andrew Carter upheld the previous decision to deny bail, rejecting a $50 million bond secured by Combs' team. The judge cited the disgraced businessman's history of violence, substance use, and the potential for witness tampering. Prosecutors successfully argued that Combs is also a flight risk and alleged that the victims identified so far represent only a small portion of a much larger operation. They also accused Combs of coercing victims through violence, such as, quote, slamming their heads into car windows, and claimed he has recently attempted to contact individuals connected to the case. The fear is that he would continue to do these things.
They couldn't prove that he's not a danger to the community and that he couldn't corrupt the case by trying to reach out to victims, something that